Stakeholder analysis is a critical part of any management system, particularly with reference to any of the international standards for quality, safety, environment. In this video, we're going to talk you quickly through the difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder, for example. We're going to talk to you about how stakeholders fit into this process in risk-based thinking with regards to a management system, and how you can do a stakeholder analysis for your organisation. You don't need to worry that we're talking ISO standards. This is relevant for any business, and how you can understand your risks, risk-based thinking, and start to develop your business plan. So stay tuned as we work through stakeholders, all the different types of stakeholders, including shareholders. We'll talk about how that links into a SWOT analysis, a risk analysis, and then a management plan. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us here at Best Practice TV. We've had a bunch of questions, bunch of comments, and we've also done some research on what videos people are craving in our YouTube channel. So particularly today, we want to talk about stakeholders. I want to do a bit of a stakeholder assessment. I want to take you through the process just generically quickly now, and how that links to your business plan in terms of this process, or your operational plan that might be developed in accordance with your quality system, your safety system, your environmental management system, but ultimately about the operational plan to deliver your business objectives. Okay. So stakeholders, obviously critical part of any organisation. They could be staff, they could be shareholders, they could be suppliers, contractors, they could be manufacturers, it could be government agencies, they could be your building manager, your landlord, any of those sorts of things. You know, they could be the families of your staff. They're all stakeholders, and I'm going to get into detail in those in a minute. But as we do that analysis, and I'm going to do that here on the whiteboard, I'll get rid of this and we'll go through that process. They do, once we start to look at them, need to drop into or be considered as part of our SWOT analysis. That's a whole nother video. Lots of stuff on YouTube about SWOT analysis. Great tool, really simple, something to think about, but definitely something to use once we start to understand our stakeholders. We drop our SWOT analysis when we start talking about developing management systems into our risk analysis. And our risk analysis might, we might spit out some sort of register. Particularly if you're watching this video because you're interested in getting ISO certification from someone like us. So we're an ISO 9001 registrar or certification body, and we've got a whole bunch of people that run around doing assessments, best practice assessments. So we've got our register there that we would spit out. I'm not going to go into that in this video, that's in another video. You're going to go and have a look. We'll put the link to it in the description below this one. And then obviously once we've got that identified, we have our plan, which is all of the controls, the who, what, when, where, how that I talk lots about on these videos. That's our plan, our business plan, if you like, or our operational plan. Okay, look at that, magic, it's gone. Okay, let's talk about stakeholders. Now specifically we want to start with our organisation, and that's us. That's your organisation. That's us, our organisation. So we're looking at our organisation and we're starting to say, well, who are all the people, the parties that have got an interest? Now it's a strategic interest, it's a financial interest, there's suppliers, contractors, banks, all that sort of stuff. We can start to just brainstorm them out. So we can say staff, we can say suppliers, we can say your bank or your financial institution, we can say government, we can say shareholders. Now these are stakeholders, and one of the questions we're often asked is, what's the difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder? Well, a shareholder is a stakeholder, but these are all other stakeholders. They've got an interest in this process. We've got staff, suppliers, bank, government agencies. What about customers? What about your landlord? The person that you rent the property from for your company or your organisation. What about end users? They're just some really basic examples, and you can go into a lot of depth here. Key tip here, critical point. This is a critical point that I want you to understand as you go through this process. We must, absolutely must, be specific. Specifically your organisation, and specifically the name and phone number of the person that you're thinking about when you're talking about a government agency. There might be 4 or 5 different government agencies in each jurisdiction where you operate. It's important to be thinking, if you can, specifically, most specifically and accurately as possible about that person, so you can unpack what their requirements are. When we talk about government agencies, they've often got license requirements, they've got laws, And when we start to talk about this, we can start to identify the specific law, the specific license, the specific conditions, requirements that we must operate within. The same over here, 1,000 staff, and they're in 4 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4. They might all have different requirements. It's important to categorise them accordingly. Suppliers, different sorts of suppliers. Banks, you might have a number of different financial institutions. You might use PayPal, for example. You might use your bank, one bank, Bank A, Bank B. You could talk about your end users banks. You've got different sorts of end users for your different products, and you could divide these by product line. Customers, different sorts of customers. Remembering you've got customers and end users, and they can be different depending on your organisation up here. So your product line 1, product line 2, product line 3. Different properties, landlords. So important, and then obviously shareholders, and they could be different types of shareholders. There could be executive shareholders, non-executive shareholders. You could have the board. What about management? The management team. Let's put them over here actually. Let's move these guys, the management team. Let's put them over here near staff. So at a really, really high level, it's a good, thorough brainstorming session. I'd recommend a big whiteboard like this, or a huge piece of paper and a pen, and sketch it out, and then you can make it more specific. We do see lots of our clients and lots of organisations we work with take all this and drop it down into a spreadsheet. And what we start to identify, obviously, is their name, their contact, and then their requirements. Anything that's a specific thing that you guys need to do to keep them happy, to keep them all on an even keel or meet their requirements so you can continue to operate. And that's obviously the whole objective of an organisation. By the true sense of an organisation, it's the organisation and coordination of all of these different stakeholder requirements to help you to go forward. So this information is important to keep at hand, this type of diagram, when you move into the next step. And then remembering we had our flowchart that we talked about in the beginning of the video, which was this is our analysis up here, stakeholders, then we go into our SWOT, then we go into our risk analysis, and then we go into our plan. And that's how that all fits together. As we're developing our SWOT, any strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, suppliers. SWOT, staff. SWOT, staff. SWOT, management team. SWOT, end users. SWOT, customers. SWOT, landlords. SWOT, shareholders. SWOT, government agencies. SWOT, bank. That's how it works. Then we know the risks. We can start to look at the risks, what they look like, and we can start to work out how we're going to address that. And that starts to become your integrated risk management plan, if you want to talk risk, or your operational plan, or your quality, safety, environment system. They might have staff, safety requirements, customers, quality requirements, government agency, environment requirements. It's an integrated risk approach. That's how all that drops down into stakeholder analysis, requirements, and this could be like a stakeholder register, if you like. Don't make your life too complicated, keep it really simple. It's about understanding where to go to find out what their requirements are. Some of it could be anecdotal. So your management team might have some anecdotal requirements of end users based on their industry experience. And that's okay, that's good. Government agencies might be very specific law, and on this register you'd put the link to the www website where the requirements exist. So that's been very quick brainstorming exercise looking at stakeholders. Stakeholder analysis shows you the difference between stakeholders and shareholders, because that's a pretty common question here at Best Practice. Talks about all the different stakeholders. Now there's a lot more stakeholders. So if there are important stakeholders in your organisation that we missed, comment below. So just type a quick comment, let us know in the comments below this video other important stakeholders in your organisation. Just give us a generic comment. People like to comment and have conversations in the comments below this video. So go right ahead, post a comment, let us know another important stakeholder that I can add to this table, and I'll shoot another video down the track for you talking about the difference between stakeholders and how it fits into your management system. So thanks for joining us here at Best Practice TV. We've got a great company LinkedIn page that's worth jumping across onto LinkedIn and hitting us with a follow. You can also look for me specifically on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect with me, send me a connection request, or just click the follow button. You'll get all the posts and updates that we do on LinkedIn. Very unique. While you're here watching these videos, it's worth opening another tab on your browser and clicking across to our website, and most specifically, our training academy. If you want more in-depth analysis of how this relates to an ISO standard, we've got a couple of great courses: Quality Assurance ISO 9001 Essentials, we've got an OH&S Essentials course, we've got an Environment Essentials course. Lots happening on Instagram where we have a little bit of fun. It's all gets corporate and serious here at Best Practice, so we have a bit of fun on Instagram. Lots of vlog content that comes out every week on YouTube. You get to see the behind the scenes. All the bloopers from shooting this particular video will be there somewhere in the YouTube channel. So look out for us on the internet. If you don't see me here on YouTube, you'll definitely see me next time right over on LinkedIn, right here at Best Practice TV. Bye for now.